World-renowned leadership consultant John C. Maxwell was once famously quoted saying, "If you wouldn't follow yourself, why should anybody else?" Everything rises and falls on leadership, and regardless of the size of your organisation, whether you're a one-man band, whether you're a large organisation with lots of staff, leadership plays a significant role. In this series of podcasts, I have world-famous leadership consultant Peter Cox from Leading from Growth coming on the show, and he's talking about 4 specific areas of leadership within organisations. We're speaking about allowing yourself to be led. We're talking about finding the right people to lead you. We're talking about whether or not you're the right person to lead your organisation. And then we're talking about how to find leaders within your organisation. Peter's also very generously offered, for the first 100 listeners, a free copy of his book, which is called The Dream is Everything, which you'll be able to get through the show notes on the SiteShed. And likewise, there'll be a link there where you'll be able to download a free copy of the 12 Leadership Essentials. So I thoroughly encourage you to check that out. Anyway, stay tuned. Hope you enjoy.
Giving tradies and contractors around the globe the tools to run a modern business. You're listening to Toolbox Talks from the SiteShed. Now here's your host, Matt Jones.
Hello and welcome back to Toolbox Talks. My name is Matt Jones, and we are joined today by Peter Cox from Leadership Dynamics, and we are talking on the topic of leadership. If you missed the last episode, we were speaking about allowing yourself to be led. And if you missed that, go back and check it out. It's a fantastic episode. In this episode, we're going to be talking about finding the right people to lead you. So welcome back to the microphone, Peter.
Thanks, Matt.
So a bit of a recap on the last episode for those that missed it. You know, we were talking about like letting yourself, allowing yourself to be led by other people. I suppose that's a paradigm that a lot of business owners would be unfamiliar with, which is why I really want to talk about it. And there was quite a powerful message there that you delivered. In this episode, we're talking about finding the right people to lead you. So tell me, why is it important to find the right people to be leading you?
Because a key reason why many people don't achieve the success they want to achieve in their life is because either one, they're not being led by anyone, or number 2, they're being led by someone that's a lid on them, that really isn't an effective leader that can really take them to where they want to go to reach their potential. So it is vital that if you want to embrace the principle of being led, that you find the right leadership mentor, leadership coach who has created tremendous success in their life, both business-wise and personally, that live leadership principles that they're going to sow into your life and your team.
Yep. So, I mean, what are they going to be leading me in?
They're going to lead you to lead your business better, to lead your team better, to lead in your life better.
Yep.
That's the 3 areas I focus on with my leadership dynamics process.
And does that framework come from your experience of being led by mentors over the years as well, or is this like a formula that's new, or has it been around for a while and you're sort of refining it for this market?
I was led by a great mentor for 22 years, and a lot of things that I learned from my mentor, Jim, who was 10 years older than me, and he passed three years ago in August. I have used wisdom that great man put into my life to multiply and share it with other people, as well as other things that I've learned in my own journey over 28 years of being in business.
Okay. So let's talk about how to go about finding the right people to lead you. Where do you look for these people? I mean, you know, you hear all the time people proclaiming to be business coaches and life coaches and this sort of thing. And from my experience, you've got to be very, very careful in choosing the right, I suppose, mentor in your life.
You are absolutely right. There are so many fakes in this world that try and come across as leadership coaches, life coaches, and you've really got to do some serious digging in behind those titles to really, truly understand the type of individual that you're thinking about having lead you. It's a very serious process, because if you get it right, it can take you to Mount Everest, and if you get it wrong, it will just be you'll be in a storm.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are some of the things when I'm looking for somebody to lead me, or lead me in my organisation? Do they necessarily have to have an understanding of the way your business operates and what you do? I mean, how can they is it the principles they're leading you on, or is it the actual business itself? Like, am I communicating that question properly?
Excellent. Great question. I've got clients from the plumbing industry, National Rugby League, Australian women's football. I've got clients in the IT industry, the fit-out industry, the online travel industry. I know nothing about those businesses.
Okay.
I don't need to know about how those businesses are set up, why they chose a particular maybe organisational chart to run those businesses. The whole key is being independent is the power of this being led process.
Yep. So we're really talking about the principles, aren't we? Like, we're talking about
principles of leadership. For you to be a better leader in your business, Matt, with what you're doing right now, there's some things that you need to change. Now, I've been running business for 28 years, so I'm going to talk to you about 3 leadership characteristics that you need to build into your life right now, for example. And then I would take you through those characteristics and then how you're going to implement them into your life and into your business and into the people you lead.
Yep.
I don't even know about your business. It's about making the business owner or the leader of that business a stronger leader, a more effective leader, a more influential leader.
So, as a trade-based organisation, where would be a good place to go? And I mean, where would I look? Where would I even start? What are the first steps in finding someone that can potentially help lead me? Am I looking at people that have been down that path and walked that walk before? Or is there like a leadership forum we can go to? Like, where do you find these people?
All my clients are referral based,
right?
Because they believe I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's a big part of finding the right person to lead you.
I would imagine it could be very often a case of finding someone that's doing, very well in any given market and just asking them who's helping them.
Well, and that's a very important point. If you want to be led, and this message that we're talking about resonates with you, the first question you need to ask that person you're considering is, who leads you?
Yep.
If they can't answer that question, you've got the wrong person, because all great leaders are led by somebody else.
Yep.
They understand the power and effectiveness of this principle. Now, you need someone who's wiser than you, more experienced than you, more successful than you. That's what you're looking for. They have a high level of influence, someone that you can aspire to be when it comes to leadership.
Yep.
Is independent to you, independent to your company, independent to your vision. They are not your friend, even though I've got long-term, deep rapport and long-lasting relationships. When I lead people with my process, I'm not their mates.
Right.
There's a real formality to that process. Can you trust this person? Can you see yourself being able to trust them? Because the process won't work if you can't trust them. Mm-hmm. You've got the wrong person leading you. Do they have integrity? What are their morals like?
Yep.
Will they make you accountable to behaviours they believe you've got to change to be a better leader, a better business owner, a better human being? Are they able to stimulate and agitate your thinking? And my leadership dynamics process, my clients will tell your listeners that when Coxie comes into our business, he stimulates us and he agitates us. That is how the change happens.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about, Matt, right?
Yeah.
That is part of my process of leading people independently.
You sure can be agitating, I'll give you that. Yeah, actually, there's something that you just mentioned there which I'd like to come back to, and that's the point you made about accountability. Now, I see this as a problem, I suppose, not even just in the leadership aspect, but across the board. It's really important that you find somebody that you can be accountable to, because otherwise you're kind of making promises to yourself. I feel sometimes like it's so much more powerful when you feel like you're going to be letting someone else down by getting, saying what you're going to do to them and then not actually doing it.
Correct. The 2 key platforms of a successful organisation are accountability and respect. I dedicate my whole life in leadership to build those 2 platforms into my own life, into my own businesses, and into the businesses I lead. and the teams that I lead. If you don't have accountability and you don't have respect, you will not win, you will get beaten, you will not reach your potential. And there is a lot that goes into growing and building accountability and respect. And one of the key strategies for that is allowing yourself to be led. That is one of several strategies to get those two key principles.
Yeah. So when you're talking about accountability from, I suppose, an organizational point of view, is it kind of like a framework that you're following where you're putting down a list of things that people should be doing and then coming back to that the following month and saying, okay, has this been done? Why has this not been done? What can be done to improve it? All this, is that the kind of...
That is correct. Like, being led means you're being led one-on-one. And I've mentioned in the first module that when I was answering questions that there has to be formality around this process. So if I was leading you one-on-one and I'm spending a few hours with you and then you want me to spend a few hours with your business partner, everything that I do with you, I've got over 100 leadership templates I would take you through, is formalised and goes back to you and your business partner. Nowhere to hide. Honesty and transparency.
Yeah.
And then the key to it is there has to be a rhythm in relation to how you're led. My clients use me on a monthly or bi-monthly basis, but I have some clients that use me on a weekly basis with this process.
Yeah.
And I haven't really spoken about some of the success of my clients with this process, how convicted and committed they are, but they will tell you that their business have gone from 3 million to 100 million in 5 years with this process. That's how much they're convicted by it.
Yeah, right. Have you got any results that are, though, impressive? From 3 million to 100 million.
I know I played a significant part in Manly's 2 grand final wins in 08 and 011, South Sydney in 2014, the Matildas with their World Cup, knocking out Brazil and going to the quarterfinals in the Women's World Cup last year, qualifying for the Olympics in the first 12 years, as well as some of my clients growing up to 30 times in size over the last 5 years, convicted by this principle alone, being led.
So let's talk about that, I suppose. Okay, so when you're coaching or when you're leading these organizations, I'm guessing you're sewing into the top level management?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I start with the business owners,
yeah,
the directors and their direct reports. But in some organisations, I'm 5-6 levels in depth in those organisations, growing emerging leaders with this and driving accountability and respect as well.
That's interesting. And actually, maybe that's something we might touch on in the following episode where we're going to be talking about, in the final episode, we're going to be talking about how to find the leaders within your organisation, because that, I imagine, is something that, that's supposed the backbone of longevity in your business, finding people that can grow and, take on tasks and roles and, sort of take over the business, hopefully. So, maybe we'll come back to that one in the following episode.
No problems.
Look, I think that's pretty much wrapped up what I want to speak about anyway on this topic. Is there anything else you want to talk about in finding the right people to lead you?
I think it's important that your listeners, if they're really grasping what we're talking about by being led, Matt, that they write down where do they want to be led to? What type of leader do they want to become?
Yep.
They've got to think about that. What are some of the leadership issues they're dealing with right now?
I suppose, my question would be, when you're talking about what kind of leadership issues am I dealing with, a lot of I suppose scenarios within business may not directly reflect leadership. However, at the end of the day, it may come down to that. I imagine actually probably most things may not necessarily directly reflect leadership. However, it probably comes back to it.
I'm very challenging with my clients, head coaches, whoever I'm leading one-on-one. And I always reiterate and go back. I say the same thing during every session with them, and I'd say it to you as well. If I was leading you, for example, Matt, I'd say what your business needs from you right now, or what your footy team needs from you right now, is not for you to be a better businessman or a head coach. It needs for you to be a better leader.
Yeah.
You're already a head coach. You're already good at what you're doing on the marketing side here, Matt, for example, but you've got to become a better leader, not a better marketer. That's done, tick. Not a better head coach, premiership, great. How can you become a better leader to lead the people you have around you?
And I suppose tying that back into, a trade-based business, you could be it's not about necessarily being a better builder or getting more qualified from a building point of view.
You've already done that, tick.
Right.
But the moment you have people around you in a team, you're leading people.
Gotcha. So I think that's what I think the listeners, that's what I think people should be taking away from this episode. That's really the backbone of what we're trying to address here. You can be the best in the world at doing what you do from a professional point of view, but if you're not good at leading people when it comes to it, that's probably going to hold you back.
It's going to hold you back, and you will not reach your potential.
Yeah. Look, I want to close on that. I think that's a really powerful message. So, mate, thanks very much for that. That was very insightful.
Once again, Matt, why are we doing this? If there's one thing your listeners can take from this conversation we're having about being led and about leadership, one thing that changes the way they think about leadership, which means it brings about a change in their behaviours, then them listening to this conversation has been worth it.
All right. So, listeners, go out there and start asking questions. Find people that can potentially lead you. Speak to people that have got success in your industry. Ask them who they talk to, who their mentors are, who's helping them, and just get out there and approach them. All right, that wraps up this episode. We're going to come back in the next episode, and we're going to be talking about, are you the right person to be leading your organization? So stay tuned for that episode, listeners, and that's a wrap. I hope you're enjoying this series on leadership. If you'd like some more information about Peter, he's offered a free copy of his book to the first 100 listeners. So if you want to head across to the show notes, you can download a copy of that book there. While you're there, click on the link to download a free copy of the 12 Leadership Essentials. The topics that you learn within that document, you can apply directly in your business. So thank you very much, Peter, and enjoy, listeners. So if you haven't already, head across to thesiteshed.com and register for our Toolbox Talks, where you'll be regularly sent great episodes just like this straight to your inbox, so you'll never miss one. If you want to join the community, you can head across to thesiteshed.com/members, where for a small monthly fee, you'll get access to regularly updated training material, as well as access to our forum, where you can mingle and collaborate with trade-based business owners just like you from all over the world. If you're enjoying this podcast, please head across to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review. We greatly appreciate it, and it helps us spread the word and reach the masses. Likewise, if you know anyone that might benefit from the content we create, then please go ahead and share this with them.
You've been listening to Toolbox Talks by The Site Shed. For more great content just like this, head across to thesiteshed.com and join the amazing community of savvy trade-based business owners.